Welcome to Reinstein Woods Nature Preserve. You have chosen to begin the Lily Pond Loop audio tour. We hope that this tour will enhance your experience today as you enjoy the stunning natural beauty that the preserve protects. You may pause at any time or go back to hear about any trail section. The sections are listed below and marked on the trail with wooden posts. Section 1. Notice the compost bins to your left. Reinstein Woods is proud to be working toward a zero-waste facility and composts any organic materials except dairy and meat. Also visible at the start of the trail, on the left, is a large eastern cottonwood tree. It is the largest tree visible on your left when you are facing towards the trail. Cottonwoods are one of the most abundant trees found along the trails here and can be easily identified by their deeply ridged bark. Many animals benefit from their presence, including turkeys, who roost in them at nighttime, and gray squirrels, who build nests from their leaves in the summer. Look closer at the cottonwood. Do you see a grapevine on the tree? You may need to walk down the trail a bit and look at the tree from the side in order to see it. The grapes produced by these vines are edible and are sometimes enjoyed by the deer that frequent the preserve. Still can't see it? Take a look at where the trunk diverges into two parts. It should be hanging down from there. Now glance to your right and see the large stump that sits off the side of the trail. It's from a cottonwood tree too. Cut down because it was decaying, it now gives a home to a variety of animals, such as chipmunks and snakes. Take a close look at it, but watch out for poison ivy, which can thrive in these areas. Gently move a bit of the wood, and if you're lucky, a garter snake will slither away. Pause now, and enjoy the scenery as you move toward the bend up ahead in the trail. When you get there, press play. Stop here for a moment after the trail turns away from the main building. Look on the ground to the left and right. There are a lot of interesting plants on this trail, and you should see a few that live along the entire length. White snakeroot, a white circular flower with a soft feel, blooms all around during the summer months. You may have seen some as you were walking up to this point. Ferns can also be found clustered in different areas, and because they are an ancient plant, dating back millions of years, they are protected by New York State. But perhaps most exciting is milkweed, the food source for the monarch butterflies that live here. They have long, tall stems with broad leaves and will probably be covered by holes from hungry caterpillars. Fresh holes will not have the yellow or brown ring that older holes have around them, and if you turn the leaves over, there is a good chance that you could see a monarch caterpillar. If they're hiding today, look for monarch eggs instead, which are small yellow spheres on the leaf's underside. You may also see prickly milkweed pods hanging from the plant. These pods contain the seeds, as well as the milk that the plant is named for. In fact, monarchs eat this plant because the chemicals in the milk can cause cardiac arrest in predators. Now pause and press play when you find the second wooden post. Section 2. Right behind the post in front of you, you will find the plant called multiflora rose. Like other roses, it has thorns, so don't touch. The leaves on this plant grow in groups of 7, 3 on each side and 1 at the end. It grows white scented flowers, which leave behind something called rose hips when they fall off. These hips contain seeds, and while they're sour in taste, they can provide animals with vitamin C. This plant can give shelter also, and birds like robins might build their nests behind the protection of the thorns. It is actually the state flower of New York. As you walk the trail now, listen and look for finches, sparrows, robins, blue jays, and cardinals, all of which can be seen in this area. Up ahead and on the left is Spring Pond. If the pond is full, you might see mallard ducks or occasionally geese. The pond is surrounded by willow, a food supply for beavers. Across the trail from the pond, on your right, is part of Lily Pond, the larger pond that the trail is named for. In dry conditions, when that pond is not full, deer can be observed cooling off in the mud. Though there is a small trail leading toward this pond, please stay on the main trail. People can damage the area, and the tall brush can contain ticks or poisonous plants. Pause now and enjoy both ponds. The third wooden post is just ahead. Press play after you get to it. Section 3. The small path crossing the trail might look like it's for humans, except that it isn't. This is a beaver trail, one of several here at Reinstein Woods, which the beavers use to move from place to place. In this case, the beavers are often traveling to Spring Pond to collect willow, then head back to Lily Pond. Willow is a great snack for beavers. Deer and other animals may decide to use this trail too. After the beaver trail, you might see red and yellow wildflowers on the edges of the trail. These include red cardinal flowers and numerous other species. And these, along with other wildflowers, are actually planted by Reinstein Woods to benefit the ecosystem. On the right, just after post number 3, are grapevines with visible fruit. These vines are the same as the one on the eastern cottonwood tree at the beginning of the trail. They are edible, but please don't eat them just in case. If you have a Reinstein guide with you, they may tell you if you can or cannot eat a certain berry on the trail. Pause now and press play when you get to post number 4. Section 4. As you continue, look to your right for dead trees that are still standing. These have a special name and are called snags. Snags are left standing by Reinstein because they provide a home for woodpeckers and other birds and give larger birds like hawks a place to perch. Small animals and insects might use the shelter also. Speaking of small animals, feel free to look for these critters as you walk today. Turn over rocks or logs, and you might catch a glimpse of insects and red-backed salamanders. But be sure to gently roll the log or rock back when you finish. If not, the sun could dry those animals up. While you look for animals, see if you can spot some important plants. Honeysuckle is not native. In fact, it is considered invasive. Characterized by bright red berries, which are poisonous, Reinstein Woods is attempting to remove this harmful plant. If you see it, notice how there are 2 berries on each stem. Usually, this means that berries on a plant are poisonous. Berries on a plant with 1 stem are traditionally not poisonous. Now please pause and press play at post number 5. Section 5. In front of you is dogwood, another interesting plant. This plant is known for having bright red stems, which hold the bluish-green berries that grow from it. Plants use their berries to hold seeds, which are then dispersed by wind, animals, or other methods. To the right of dogwood is a short pine tree, which probably came to be in this way. To the right of the tree are leftover stalks from the common mullein plant. They might look like cattails, and this often prompts questions from visitors, but they are actually a completely separate species. After walking a short while past these stalks, you should see a large dead gray birch tree on the right. This tree was planted by the Reinstein family. During the time that the Reinstein family owned the land here, before giving it to the DEC, they made improvements to keep it pristine and natural. See if you can find blackberries or raspberries along the trail. While it's tempting to try them, don't until you check with a professional. This area of the trail has a lot of tall shrub growth on the sides. When the leaves fall off these in the fall, you can see birds' nests among the foliage. When the birds migrate as the temperature drops, mice and other small mammals can use the leftover nest as a home. As we've already seen, plants can be home to other guests too. A gall is a growth on a plant formed when an insect makes its home in part of a plant and the plant grows around it. Pause now and continue at number 6. As you walk, see if you can spot any of the things I've mentioned. Section 6. Stand facing this post, then back up as far as possible, looking at the tall Norway spruce trees across the pond. Like the gray birch tree we saw earlier, these trees were actually planted by the Reinstein family. They house great horned owls, one of the largest predatory birds in North America, and lots of white-tailed deer. Now pause and continue at post number 7. Section 7. Next to post number 7 is a small trail leading down to Lily Pond. You should be able to get a good look at the pond now. From June until September, the pond is covered in bright pink flowers on the lily pads. Watch for frogs, ducks, or other animals. You may notice that across the pond and sticking up out of the water is a small wooden box on a pole. This is for wood ducks, birds that live in holes inside trees, but who will live in man-made boxes if no other space is available. That cone underneath the box? That's called the predator guard, and it keeps animals like raccoons from climbing up and stealing the duck eggs. Enjoy the pond, but then focus back on the trail. Keep looking for some of the plants we've discussed so far, and press play at post number 8. Section 8. In front of you is Heron Pond. Like Lily Pond and other ponds here at Reinstein Woods, it is home to a diverse group of plants and animals. One of the most common types of birds you might see here is the green heron, for which the pond is named. Pause here and enjoy the pond, then press play just before you cross the wooden bridge up ahead. Don't cross the bridge just yet. On the ground around you may be seen knapweed, another kind of wildflower here on the preserve. Now, stand on the middle of the bridge. Looking back toward where you came from, you can see red pine trees on the right. These trees are tall, with the majority of needles at the top. Now pause, cross the bridge, and press play at post number 9. Section 9. Here, you have a choice to make. If you continue right, heading towards the sign and intersection of trails directly on that side of you, continue listening as usual. If you continue left, you can take the State Symbols Trail, an interesting path that teaches you about the different state symbols and their roles in nature. This path eventually reconnects to the Lily Pond Loop Trail, but you'll have to pause now and then press play at section 10, listed below the video. On your left is a bat house. It is a large brown wooden box nailed high up on a tree. See if you can find it. Bat houses allow the bat population a place to roost during the daytime. Continue to the right, along this back part of Lily Pond. The cage around the pipe near the trail intersection up ahead serves an important purpose. It prevents beavers from clogging this pipe. We'll see a lot of the construction done by beavers when we look at Lily Pond around the corner. Also, although you might see herons on the larger part of Heron Pond, look for them here too. They might be standing on a log or rock by or on top of the water. Section 10. Across from you is a beaver den. It is an underwater entrance through which it can be accessed, and the beavers may live or store food in it during different times in the year. However, they will spend their winters in their main lodge, located in a different part of the preserve. Along the edge of Lily Pond here are beaver caches. These may look like smaller versions of the beaver den, and they hold the food that the beavers are storing. On your left, almost just before the bench up ahead, are some plants that you may not have seen so far. One of them was actually used as a hairbrush in past times. At the end of the trail is post number 11. You can take a moment to reflect on the trail on the bench, continue straight and head back to the Welcome Center, or head back on the Lily Pond Trail and take another trail. Thank you so much for learning with us today, and we hope that you return soon to this beautiful sanctuary.